Kia ora. The focus we coach our people came about when we listened to your leaders who said that they wanted to teach and mentor but felt like they lacked the knowledge of how to do this well. We also heard that people want more information about the work they're doing, clearer objectives and priorities, and an increased ability to contribute to the work that they are doing. The focus on coaching is the way we're going to support this. The work that you are doing isn't building by numbers. It requires thought and an ability to solve problems. If you're doing a renovation, you have a plan for that job, but despite having a plan, you are still required to continually think and come up with solutions to problems or challenges that you're faced with. If I was to tell you exactly how to do a job and give you no ability to make decisions, as soon as you encountered a problem, you'd need to be back to me to talk it through and for me to solve the problem for you. We know that people don't want to be in that position. They want to be good at what they do, have the ability to influence the work that they do, and be connected to the work. Coaching is a tool that achieves a higher level of open communication to get these things. Let me talk you through what coaching is and what it is not. For this, we'll start with the Cleland's coaching strategy. This says that depending on an individual's competence, commitment, as well as the consequences of the task, this should guide how you lead and manage someone. If they're high in competence and commitment and the consequences of the task are low, then I can just drop them in and let them go with a sink or swim approach. At the other end, if the individual is low in competence and low in commitment and the task has high consequences, then I would likely micromanage them. Not nice for either the leader or the person, but necessary for the project and where that person is at. This would involve being really prescriptive about what and how something is to be done, as well as having lots of checks and supervision. Two other approaches are supporting and mentoring. With supporting, they are relatively high in competence and commitment, and the job is somewhat low in consequences. So you give them the expectations of what you need, give them some boundaries, and ask them what they need from you. On the other end is mentoring. This is when you're supporting them with some expertise and explaining how to do certain things. You're also reasonably regular with your supervision of them. Now let me get into coaching, which is where we want you to spend most of your time. Coaching is effective as it achieves a few things. Firstly, coaching isn't a prescriptive do-as-I-say approach. It's an adult-to-adult relationship where the coach and the person being coached have a respectful relationship towards each other. Secondly, coaching sets the tone with a climate of trust and support in the workplace. And thirdly, it helps to transfer ownership of the task to the person being coached, and this helps leaders who coach to feel less stress and achieve a greater influence. The model we'll use for this is tight, loose, tight coaching. It starts by being tight on expectations. Think of a project that you've done where you've got to the end and you've found that it was far from meeting your expectations. You want to give feedback, then you start to realise how unclear you were with your expectations at the start. This is about being clear with your expectations and spending the time at the start of a job to go through these. What needs to be achieved? Why is this important? What's the standard? Once you've been tight on expectations, you are loose on execution. You have said what needs to be achieved, so you can leave the how up to them. They have the ownership to meet your expectations in a way that they decide. The loose execution requires you to be deliberate about how you respond to questions from the person you're coaching. What we're trying to do is raise their capability. Every time that you answer a question that they can answer for themselves, you remove the option to grow their capability. For us, answering questions is instinctive, so we want to pause before we answer a question or jump in with advice. Ask yourself, what's a good question I can respond with here to get them thinking? By giving solutions and answers, we're also saying, I don't trust your ability to solve problems. So the next problem they get, they're back to you. Sure, you probably have more experience than they have, and it might sometimes just be quicker to give him or her the answers. But when you do this, you deprive them of the opportunity to find solutions for themselves. You stop independent thinking and encourage them to come to you whenever they need help. Showing some patience will pay off in the long run. It will help team members learn to use initiative and not be dependent on you. Through loose execution, we're also trying to avoid the constant critiques or need to jump in and say how things need to be done. Remember, these are good people that have a good level of competence and commitment, so they don't want to let you down. And this coaching environment will allow them to grow and do even better. One aspect of coaching that's important is to be curious rather than critical. We expect people to turn up to work and want to do a good job. So when things don't go to plan, it's not because they want to make mistakes. It's because there is something that has led them to that point. Maybe the instructions weren't clear. Maybe there was an error in the plan. Maybe they had contradictory information or were previously taught incorrectly. Being curious allows you to go in and seek to understand what's going on and to support a fix of the situation. Finally, you're tight on results. Often we're not tight on results because we find these conversations hard to have. So we end up doing extra work ourselves to make up for these unmet expectations. These results conversations are a lot easier because you have been very clear at the expectation stage. This allows you to have an open and honest conversation about how the project went and where it did or did not meet expectations. In this focus, we coach our people. I have gone through the strategy for the type of leadership and management that can be used to support people with different levels of competence, commitment, and a job's consequences. Most of the strategy sees us using a coaching approach. This coaching approach uses a tight method to support individuals. This will help to grow ownership within your team and support their learning and growth. Now we're at the end of the video. Please write a few notes. What makes sense? What don't you understand yet? Then we can go through this in our face-to-face workshop. See you soon.